Immersion. It's a word that gets thrown around quite a bit in video game marketing, particularly when talking about open world games. You want a player to be fully immersed in your game? Well, that's easy. Just give it a big old map with a bunch of stuff to do and no set order to do it in. Congratulations, your game is now immersive. Many games today are following this format and doing it very well, like Zelda, for example. Fantastic game with a massive world and very little hand-holding. And Elden Ring. Another great game with a huge map that gives you the freedom to... Oh, Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. New York feels huge and the traversal is really satisfying. Okay, could you slow down a little bit? Let me catch up. Please, I'm just trying to... That's enough. That's enough! Slice it! There are too many games today.
Hey,
wow.
he said the thing.
I know.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Subscribe, please. Okay, this is going to be one of the most ranty videos about an objectively first world problem that I will probably ever make, but this is something that's been bothering me for a while and I feel like I need to talk about it. We are in an absolute golden age of video games. There is no denying that. The last 2 years alone have given us some of the greatest games ever released. But with that said, it feels like more and more games each year are trying to be this massive open world adventure that you can pour hundreds of hours into that you never stop playing. And I just have to say, do they all need to be that big? In the last couple years, I have put a substantial amount of time into Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Tears of the Kingdom, Hogwarts Legacy. They're all great games in their own way, but I also haven't finished a single one of them. I am caught in this endless loop of abandoning one huge game that wants all my attention to start the next huge game that wants all my attention, and I am tired. And these don't even scratch the surface of all the massive open world or just super long games that have released in the last few years. Here's a list of all the games that have released from 2020 to now that take more than 20 hours to beat just the main story. Are you noticing the problem here? And look, I am not here to say that every game over 20 hours is bloated and needs to be cut down. That's stupid. Some of my favorite games of all time are on this list. What I am saying, however, is there is a trend among game developers right now to include so many different elements to make their game last forever, and I'm sorry, but some of you aren't fucking good at it. Ubisoft, what have you done? What have you done to my boys? Ubisoft used to be one of the most respected studios when it came to narrative-focused open-world games. Far Cry 3 to this day is one of my favorite games ever. Sure, it had a pretty big map and some RPG elements, but overall it felt like the compelling narrative and satisfying combat were the main focus here. And honestly, I felt the same way about the old Assassin's Creed games before they went full RPG mode. They definitely exceeded their trailing mission budget, but overall they were kept pretty concise without too much filler. But now it's like every game Ubisoft puts out needs to be absolutely stuffed to the brim with fetch quests and camp clearing and tower climbing and paid DLCs and dialogue trees and fucking crafting. Oh my god, does every video game need a crafting system? Assassin's Creed Valhalla takes 60 hours to beat just the main story, and I assure you, it is not interesting enough to be entertaining for that amount of time. It's gotten so bad that I was actually relieved when I heard that Assassin's Creed Mirage was only 15 hours long. Okay, I know I just went in on Ubisoft for a little bit, which is fine, they deserve it, but they are definitely not the only studio that's guilty of this trend. As I said before, this is a topic that I've wanted to cover in a video for a long time, but it was a more recent game, well, recent, that finally pushed me over the edge. That game is Starfield. Now, I will be the first to admit I have never been a fan of Bethesda RPGs. The broken physics, the dialogue trees, the carry weight, especially carry weight. Why can I pick up any useless item in these games that all add to my carry weight, so it means I have to be super diligent about what I pick up, which basically makes quick looting impossible, so it makes me not even want to loot, so I'm probably missing important items. Ugh. Miss me with all that shit. But Starfield actually looked pretty fun, and I was looking forward to it. Todd Howard and his leather jacket have been hyping up Starfield for more than half a decade now to be the greatest space exploration game of all time. And when it finally came out, do you know what it was? Cutscenes. Just a whole bunch of cutscenes. Maybe that's not fair of me to say because Bethesda never explicitly said that you could fly from the ground on one planet out into orbit and land directly onto another planet. But that's kind of what they implied, isn't it? During their 45-minute Starfield Direct last summer, They said things like,
"That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too."
And
we're putting you in the cockpit of your very own spaceship and telling you that you can do pretty much anything.
Which definitely made it sound like space exploration would be a big part of the game. What they didn't say, however, is that all the space exploration and everything involved in it just happens in orbit of whatever planet you're closest to, not out in open space. Alana Pierce put up a video a while back where she attempted to fly from the orbit of one planet to another without using the fast travel system. It took about 7 hours to do so, and once she got there, she found that it wasn't a planet that you could just fly directly onto. It was more like a floating PNG. Once you get close enough to its surface, you just go right through it. The only real way to experience the majesty of space exploration is to go into the menu, select a planet to fast travel to, watch a cutscene, watch your ship being checked for contraband, fucking narcs, watch another cutscene of your ship landing on the planet, and voila, majesty of space exploration. Starfield is too big because it's not big enough. I'm confused too, stick with me. Starfield has 1,000 procedurally generated planets, which is insane, but they can only be explored by selecting them on a map and then watching a fast travel animation. If you could fly from one planet to another and it was seamless, like you can do in No Man's Sky or Outer Wilds, then that 1,000 planets would actually mean something because there would be entire galaxies to explore between them. But the current system is more like a level select screen where you choose between the 3 developed cities and the over 900 barren wastelands, and it's fucking boring. Now at this point in the video, you're probably thinking this is another one of those gaming is dead and it's your fault rants that plague this godforsaken website, but it's actually the opposite. I'm not ranting about the current state of the video game industry because I hate video games. I fucking love video games. I just wish that the industry would slow down sometimes. Not just because half the AAA, or according to Ubisoft, quadruple A, fuck you Ubisoft, games that come out today are unfinished microtransaction fueled cash grabs, but because there are too many good games today too, and most people, myself included, don't have the time and especially the money to play them all. Last year alone saw the release of Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor, Zelda, Final Fantasy, Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake, Lies of P, Spider-Man 2, all running 20 hours minimum and only a fraction of the games released. We are completely overwhelmed by choice, and I personally spend more time these days with the little free time I have trying to decide what to play rather than playing something. As much as it pains me to say this, this is not my job. I wish it was. Please subscribe. But even some people whose job involves playing video games are sharing this sentiment. I just miss the days where I could be excited about a new game without this crippling FOMO hanging over me from the 300 other games in my backlog. And if any game studio execs happen to stumble onto this video, maybe try and focus less on how much you can squeeze into your game and focus more on the quality of what's in it. There are reasonable gamers out here who are willing to take a shorter game or wait a little longer for a game to release as long as everything in the finished product is good quality. Also, treat your employees better, don't use AI voice actors, and for the love of God, fucking finish games before you release them. My name's Gooba, I'll see you next time.